Scott, welcome to the NTM Growth Marketing Podcast. It's an honor to be speaking with you today.
Thanks so much for having me, Andrew. It's an honor to be here.
Like I was saying before we started up, I've been such a big fan of your work over the years. I listen to your own podcast weekly, and it's such a go-to resource for me. And what I appreciate so much about BiggerPockets and BP Money specifically is just how well you know your listeners and your community. I'd love for you to share a little bit about what did you do behind the scenes to just get your messaging, your presentation. It's even like your tone of voice. It's like, this is who I want to go to for my personal finance knowledge.
That's really an interesting question. So the answer is not going to be what you probably want to hear, as from an easy standpoint. I was a fan of BiggerPockets before I ever joined the company. So I listened to the podcast and kind of identified with that aspiration of financial freedom, the power of real estate investing, the understanding that, yeah, I can lose my shirt, but I can also put in hundreds of hours of work to reduce risks when I go into real estate. I can do the work myself. I can, with a little bit of investment, a lot of hustle, and a little bit of luck, potentially achieve financial freedom in a 5, 7, 10-year period through real estate investing. So I believe that and internalized it, spent the hundreds of hours learning about real estate investing that many of our clients and customers and listeners spend and invest in learning the subject of real estate investing. And then I joined the business. I've posted thousands of times to our forums, answering questions for members online. I've written 100 blog articles and responded to almost all the comments on those blog articles that I received. I have posted countless times to Facebook and social media. I have met with several hundred members over the past 8 years for coffee or beers or lunch, or as they're coming through the office, attended conferences and events. And then I've interviewed 300 of them on the BiggerPockets Money Show podcast with that. So that is, and then of course we survey our audiences to understand those things. So, but I'll give you an example. The surveys are really hard to put together if you don't know your audience first, right? So because I've met with literally 1,000 people digitally or physically for probably an hour-long chat over the last 8 years, perhaps literally that level, and interacted with hundreds or thousands more. It's very easy to put together a survey that validates or invalidates your assumptions or whatever, and then you can back up what you've learned across those many interactions individually with hard data that confirms or denies it, or tells you what's shifting in the audience thoughts and why. So it gives you very good capability to guess accurately at what's likely going on, and then you can confirm it. So does that answer your question?
It does. And what I find so fascinating is that you're now the president and CEO of BiggerPockets, correct?
That's right. Yep.
And you are so connected to your community and your clients and your customers. What inspires you as you're the CEO, but like you said, you get coffee meetups with people in your community all the time, which isn't typical of what a CEO does.
I don't know why that's not typical of what a CEO does. I think that, like, if you're in a B2C business, how can you not be meeting like a CEO of I don't know, some big bank or something, like with like huge customers. Like, of course they should be meeting with their top customers, right? But we don't have top customers. We have, every individual investor is a customer, right? People are paying $390 for our subscription product. We have 50,000 of them. So everybody who's either a current or potential member of that is a good person for me to meet with. So I think it's an exceptionally valuable use of my time. So that's first. And then second, if I wasn't CEO of BiggerPockets, I'd be doing the exact same thing, because that's what I was doing before I ever joined BiggerPockets, is talking about real estate investing. And so many people helped me as a novice investor at that point in time, that now that I've got some experience and ability to help the person who's getting started, I would just do that for kicks, because that's what you do in the real estate investing community here. So
let's take a step back, and I'd love for you to share with your role as CEO, what does a typical just day-to-day look like for you in running the business?
Yeah. So what I choose to do is I'll set a set of quarterly goals for myself, and usually 3 big ones, one to 3 big ones. And I'll sit down with our administrative coordinator, and we will literally move my calendar for that entire quarter, all of my standing meetings, to reflect those priorities, right? So this quarter coming up, my three biggest priorities are going to be really outward facing stuff. So coming on podcasts like this one, and writing for news outlets and those types of things to help get the word out about BiggerPockets. Second is meeting all of the CEOs with companies that are relevant to our space who might be interested in partnering or perhaps one day selling their company to BiggerPockets from that. And then third, I have a major hire for one of our divisions that I need to make. So I literally will then position my calendar around that. I have my one-on-ones with my team and my weekly leadership meeting, which never change, although I will move the time of those one-on-ones. And then I carve out big blocks of time that are dedicated time for those initiatives, so I can schedule last minute meetings or whatever with that. And then, outside of that, there's the reaction, right? So I have my three things I can plan around, and that's probably going to take me a third of my time. I have my ongoing whirlwind of activities, which is probably another third of my time. And then I have a reaction to the stimuli that come in from the business or externally that I have to then correspond with. And I'll come into work on a week, and some weeks nothing will happen, and I'll be like, what am I doing? I have all this free time. I can really get deep into some work. But most of the time, something will come up that I've got to deal with or react to. Somebody is leaving the company, or we have a crisis with one of our pieces of content. We mentioned Donald Trump. Why are we mentioning it? Why are we getting political here? So that kind of those kinds of things will come up.
When you're thinking about marketing at BiggerPockets, can you talk about how marketing has fueled the growth of the brand?
Yeah, so we have an interesting approach to marketing. We break out business. So and we break our business into 4 business lines. So we make money with we have a podcast and YouTube channel, and that makes money via advertising. We have a book publishing business. We're actually one of the larger independent book publishers in the country, and that makes money by selling books on a per unit basis. We have a conference business as well that we can lump into those. Then we have a subscription product with 50,000 paying subscribers. And we have what we call our marketplace business, which is where we connect investors with investor-friendly agents, lenders, property managers, insurance brokers. So those 4 business lines. The podcast and YouTube channel is really how we attract almost all of our audience and our website sessions. So the media business and the publishing business are actually our customer acquisition engines, right? Because people are learning about the podcast through SEO, or referring people to via word of mouth, or same thing with YouTube or blog posts or forum posts, those types of things. So we do a really good job of blending kind of user-generated content, the discussions going on in our forums or Facebook groups. Hey, I weighed 400 pounds 5 years ago and was $25,000 in debt. Weighed myself on the Walmart scale. Decided I'm going to lose weight and fix my credit score. Lost 220 pounds. Got my credit score in a really good shape, and now I'm worth $500,000 through real estate. Thanks, BiggerPockets. Okay, that is a great story that literally came from our forums.
Your forums are fantastic. They're the only forums I pay attention to for brands I like.
Oh, thank you. I like our forums too. I really appreciate that. But anyway, so that gentleman came on our BiggerPockets Money Show podcast and shared that story, and that's how we're able to get a really unique story that nobody else could source, right? This isn't something you can hear about in these other platforms because it's happening in our community. We're following that. We're in tune with our community. We can pull out success stories like that, highlight them, and then you hear an incredible story one after another. Although I will say those incredible stories are fun, but they're actually not even our most popular ones. The most popular thing is always like, hey, boring teacher creates $1 million net worth in 7 or 8 years by fixing up one crappy property every summer, right? It's a super repeatable result that literally anyone could do to replicate if they're willing to just live cheaply and work hard and let time pass for those things. That's what really resonates with folks the most, is those kinds of content pieces.
Yeah, and that storytelling which I love when you do the Friday interviews with guests, is it's super relatable. And I have to pause it so many times because it just hits me as like, that's exactly what's going on with me right now. Can you talk about that storytelling of the brand and how that's been such a powerful tool for you?
Yeah, well, I think that well, can you reframe your question? You mean as the how we interview people on the
Yeah,
podcast?
how you interview people. And I would say that's your storytelling mechanism because it's just so relatable. And like you're saying with the school teacher, like you can put yourself in that shoe and see yourself as them and hear their story arc of progression to financial freedom.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So as the host of the Money Show,
Mhm.
right, we do two segments on the Money Show, one on Mondays and one on Fridays. On the Monday show, we typically have someone who is already wealthy talk about or who has achieved something interesting with
Mhm.
their financial story, just tell their story. And we come back to a framework when we interview those folks. We say, where did your story begin? What does the beginning look like? Typically childhood or college or right out of college, those types of things. Like what does the beginning look like? When was the turning point? Many times folks are like, yeah, I was racking up debt or spent 7 years getting nowhere, had nothing to show for it, but a couple of parties and whatever with that. And then something clicks. So we go digging. What's that backstory? What's the buildup? Where did that get them? And then something clicks. I listened to a podcast. I read a book. I had an aha moment somehow that was like, I'm going to get my finances in order. Some of them are really interesting or powerful. I literally ran out of cash, and my debit card no longer swiped. But we want to find that aha moment, and then behavior changes after that. I'm on one trajectory. I have my aha moment, and my trajectory changes. Nothing happens overnight. You don't get rich overnight, but your trajectory changes overnight. And I began listening to podcasts. I began investing the hundreds of hours that are necessary to really become comfortable with the ins and outs of personal finance and real estate investing or whatever it is. And I put that time in and gradually saw my savings rate increase from 0 per month to 1,000 to 2,000. And now I'm here. Here's my portfolio. And so we like to go through this progression of backstory, aha moment, new trajectory, where you are currently, and what your future looks like. And so once you have that framework in place, you can ask questions that probe out the details, because some parts of those stories are more interesting than others for different individuals. And so that's the skill set that we need to develop as hosts, for each of the podcasts. And I think we've done a very good job at BiggerPockets of helping identifying hosts who have that skill set and helping them nourish that skill set and get better at that. So same thing with Finance Friday. We want to get a clear picture of the overall position. If there's something interesting around that backstory, we'll want to get that backstory in place. Then we'll paint that picture of their financial situation, get clear on their goals, and then look for the most important levers in their financial position and try to give advice around that. So frameworks that we're applying to each of these that help us make decisions very quickly. And
I was using the Friday and Monday episodes interchangeably. Can you just share again for anyone who's listening your Monday podcast, what those are about, and Friday and the themes are a little bit different?
Yeah, sure. So sorry about that.
And
On the
that was my bad. I used the days interchangeably.
Yeah, on the BiggerPockets Money Show podcast, we have two episodes. One is on Mondays and one is on Fridays. The Monday show is a backstory, a historical journey of someone's journey with money,
Mhm.
right? And we try to find individuals that are relatable and that have good stories or learnings that other people can apply. The Finance Friday, we take somebody who is at a current point in time and struggling with what to do next. They don't know what the next steps of their money journey should be. And
Mhm.
we go through a picture of their position, and then we essentially give them advice. Although it is not our attorney makes us say that this is neither tax nor legal advice. You should check with your tax advisor. Yeah, on those types of things, to talk about what they might consider doing with their money to achieve their next goal. And oftentimes people don't even know what their goals are. So if you don't give me a goal, I'm telling you that your goal is flexibility with finance. So you want a flexible financial position if you don't know what your goal is.
So you are clearly so numbers driven, but what I'm also hearing is that you're intuitive and you can craft a story and a narrative. How did you develop these different sides of your brain to be such a powerful marketer?
That's a really nice compliment. I don't know if I do a great job with the second part of that, from an intuitive standpoint. I would say that I'm not a good public speaker. I
Mhm.
speak all the time publicly, The reason I feel like I'm good at this topic, like if I was giving a presentation in college, I'm in front of my class of 30 people. And I'm turning white and just shaking with fear giving this presentation, right? And the same thing still happens to me from time to time, but it doesn't happen in the world of real estate investing or personal finance. And it's because of what I just told you at the beginning of this. I've met with 1,000 people in this. I've
Mhm.
posted 100 times. I have a complete framework that I've exhaustively researched in real estate. It's never complete. It's always evolving. I'm always learning new things. But I feel like I am beyond journeyman. I am close to expert level, maybe approaching master level in terms of how I think about the frameworks of personal finance. There's tons of details that I still have to learn, and I'm not a master. I don't want to go there, but because of that level of self-education and investment, I feel very comfortable talking about the subjects I feel that I'm an expert in at this point in time. And so that helps me craft those narratives. Is that answering your question? I'm going to go off topic there.
It did. Let me ask you this question. I want to bring it back a little bit to goal setting. And like I was mentioning with numbers. So uh, clearly when you're doing either of these episodes in your own personal finance, you have goals and numbers that you're hitting. When you're creating marketing goals for your company, can you talk a little bit about that process and even what does marketing success look like for the business?
Great. So we start. I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to answer your question after I've zoomed out, zooming in on marketing. So we start with top level strategy for our business, right? What are we trying to do? We're trying to do three things here at BiggerPockets over the next year or two. The first is we want to build a centralized dashboard for the investor journey, a technology product that says we know who you are. You are Bradley. You're 35. You're from Atlanta, Georgia. You're $115,000 a year. You already own your first rental property. You want to buy your next one. Here's an agent or agents that make sense for you. Here are lenders that make sense for you. Here are properties that make sense for you. Here are contractors, property managers. Here are the tools that make sense, the content, the meetups in your local area. We want to give you a personalized experience. So that's priority one, right? Priority number two is right now we have a great marketplace where we can help Bradley meet his agent. We don't have the lenders, the property managers, or the insurance brokers. We want to add those in by curating a thoughtful experience, right? And it's going to be hard and tricky. You got to be, you want a really good rate when you're talking to a lender, but you also want a lender who understands that you have different income streams than a typical W-2 worker. You have other properties that need to be factored in. You have a side business that needs to be factored in. You may want a 30-year mortgage. You may want a hard money loan, or you may want a alternative mortgage. So you can put your property in an LLC and have it be a non-recourse loan. So these are the types of things that we got to think through that don't really exist out there. So that's the second strategic plank, is expanding those marketplace categories. And the third thing that we're going to do is we want to offer this one-stop shop for our pro members, where they can find deals, analyze them with a really sophisticated level, manage their properties using property management software, and then track their portfolio with accounting software and see how it's performing and whether it's living up to the expectations they set. So they can refine that. So those are our three priorities, right? Notice that marketing is not really one of those three priorities. Those are really product initiatives. And I think that's because for us, the way we built our business, the media channels and our publishing business are constantly growing organically to bring us new clients with that. Now, we do have a marketing team and they have goals. So within that subset of goals, their objectives are going to be twofold. One is attracting new audiences. How many real estate investors are out there? Where are they engaging? How do we reach them? How do we get them to begin listening to our content or watching our YouTube videos or coming to our site? So that's brand acquisition. And the second is product marketing, moving the folks that are listening to our shows and educating them to moving them to our website to come in and join our email list, for example. And then also to potentially sign up for our pro membership, meet one of our agents, buy our books, attend our conference. Is that?
It does. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that sales strategy, because I've never have felt sold to in anything I've experienced of your brand. Anytime there's an offer presented, it just feels like the natural next step for me. Can you elaborate a little bit more of how you've been able to just have that brand feeling and that progression you're trying to take people through in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, well, it starts with understanding your customer's journey, right? So let's talk about what's the journey of a real estate investor, right? And I'll use Brad. I'll go back to Bradley again, right? Bradley is the persona we've created to describe our customer, right? And there was one persona of many. We're gonna branch out, but okay, Bradley's 35 years old. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He earns $115,000 a year. He's got his first property. Or let's start. Let's start at the beginning of his journey. So he earns $115,000 a year. He doesn't own any properties. What's he going to do? He's going to spend a year of his life, literally a year and 500 hours, listening to podcasts, reading books, watching videos, talking in forums, engaging in Facebook groups, meeting agents, meeting investors. He's going to do some combination of those activities for a year until he feels confident. This is a skeptical person. This is an ambitious and hopeful person who wants to achieve financial freedom, but is also skeptical and realizes that investing comes with real risks and can create losses.
Can I ask a quick question to clarify? So you have the data and insights to know someone is going to be just flirting around your ecosystem for a year until they might be ready to pull out their credit card and buy their first product with you?
No, we don't have those insights. What we have is I've interviewed 1,000 of these individuals, and our team has interviewed hundreds of thousands more, and they all tell us a very consistent story with that. And our survey data backs that up. But what I can't do is I can't tie, hey, listener 1257, listen to these podcasts, because that's on Apple, right? Or Spotify, right? On that system, and watched these 10 YouTube videos and bought these 6 books on Amazon and then joined our site. I know that in aggregate, but I don't know at the individual level, and I'll never know at the individual level. Right. But that doesn't mean, just because I can't collect the data, it doesn't mean I won't build the business around what the customer wants, the customer journey here. So we build the business around the customer journey and say, no, Bradley wants to immerse himself in 500 hours. And what we're going to do then is we're going to create a world where he can do that for free or very low cost to his heart's content. And every word is going to be a different, that's the thing about, I think that we do really well. Sorry, you're getting me going about the company. So please let me know if I'm going too hard about.
I love this, as you're like describing me to a T. So I'm like, oh, this is why I'm so hooked on this.
Yeah. So okay. So okay. So great. So it sounds like I'm resonating with this, right? We know our customer to a little bit, right? But okay. What we're going to do is what I think we do a good job of is it's not my perspective that is important. It's not Brandon Turner's or David Green's or any of our the faces of our brand. It's the fact that we have hundreds of different people coming through who all are achieving success or failures in some cases in different ways through real estate investing. Some people are buying expensive condos in San Francisco and making a killing. Some people are buying dilapidated shacks in the middle of cornfields in the Midwest and making a killing from a cash flow perspective. And they're all right. And they all have different approaches with that. And that makes the customer think over and over and over again. So there's always value in a different way that's coming in, and it challenges. People are achieving success with exactly opposite strategies in many cases with that. And I think that's where the hundreds of hours come in, and what we do a really good job of. And that's all free, right? You just listen to the podcast. We're going to make our 10 cents because we got some ads that we're going to run on that show. We can't scale something that's not profitable. But that's a unit economics thing, right? Once I have enough listenership on a per episode basis, that podcast brings in a profit each time, right? The listenership, the ads less the cost to produce the show is a per unit profit. So we just scale production as long as the listenership's there. That's a clear scorecard. If people like it and are rating it high, then we're going to do more of it and let people immerse themselves. We have 30 book titles that follow the same concept, and 3 YouTube channels and probably more to come for sure. Actually 4 YouTube channels, more to come for sure. So that's the thesis there. Okay, so the 500 hours are spent. Then Bradley is going to decide to buy a property, right? I've now spent a year consuming hundreds of podcasts, meeting tons of people. I'm not going to not buy a property. Some people don't. But many people are like, you know what, it's time to, we call it shit or get off the pot. Right. I'm gonna do one of those 2 things here and get going. And so that's a big moment for our business, because that's when we have our pro membership, which has a lot of tools that are geared to helping that first time investor make that first decision, right? Calculators, leases and landlord forms, a rent estimation tool, all the things that we think will be helpful in helping you make a good decision when you buy that first property. And then after they decide to transact, there will be a transaction. And that's when money changes hands in this business, right? That's when agents get paid commissions and loans are originated and insurance policies are underwritten, right? And so that's a big moment. And that's where we think the future of our business is in connecting Bradley with those professionals and earning a slice of those pie. And that's for us, a really good monetization approach because Bradley's not paying for that. Bradley's meeting an investor-friendly agent, the agent's paying us on the commission side or for the referral for that. So as long as we do a good job and maintain the trust of our how bad would it be if we screwed up that trust by making a bad connection downstream? We just spent 500 hours earning trust over last year with a customer, and we're gonna make it. So that's the key. We have to move slowly and effectively in each one of these categories to build it out and be right each time. Otherwise, we're going to destroy this fragile trust we worked so hard to create with the customer. So that's our marketing approach here at BiggerPockets.
I love it. And it just so goes back to knowing your customer and you're just not forcing them to move quicker along that customer journey path. And you're just providing so much awesome content for them along the way. And you know what it's going to turn into down the line.
Yeah. Well, here's another one too. So after Bradley buys his property, guess what happens?
What's next?
He's out of money. That was all of the cash that he had saved up in his entire life that he was willing to put into that investment property outside of maybe his home equity and his primary residence and his 401k balance. So what do you do there? Most companies are like, I'm going to fight tooth and nail for retention. No. Great. Go chill for 3 years. Just save up more money and go chill. Maybe listen to a few podcasts. We'll be interesting. And we're back. We're here for you when you come back and want to buy the next property. Have you bought a property yet?
I've not, but my fiance owns the condo we live in.
Awesome. Well, when are you going to buy another one, an investment property in the next year or two, you think?
It's an ongoing discussion. His kids will be in the future eventually, and that's when we're going to make the move for the next condo. So I'd say within the next 5 years, we will.
Awesome. Well, you'll see the same phenomenon here. You'll be out of money whenever you'll be like, I'm not going to buy another property right now. It's not. I just bought another $500,000 asset. I'm good for which is I don't know how much you make, but for many of our members, 5-6 times their salary.
Right.
And so I'm going to chill for a little bit and see how this goes. Stabilize the asset, save back up, rebuild my financial position.
I want to talk a little bit about marketing again at BiggerPockets. And can you talk about a marketing opportunity that your team is debating on or is going to implement by the end of this year?
Yeah, so I think the biggest opportunity, I'll give you an abstract opportunity and then I'll give you a practical opportunity. That's that. So the abstract opportunity is we often think about how do we better serve our current audience, get more engaging content, those types of things, and grow crank by crank, bit by bit, week by week, month by month with better content, more engaging content. But what we haven't done in the past is said, how many investors are out there? Like how many investors are in the United States of America and who own property? Who are they? We know who our audience is, but who are the folks that we're not reaching? What are they doing to learn about real estate investing? How do they understand that? Right. If right now we understand that we're only accessing about 40% of the market. What are the other 60% doing? Like how are they getting their information? We think that they're older individuals. Are they active? When are they looking to sell their properties? How can we serve that market that we really don't serve at all today? How do we serve more experienced investors who are buying commercial property and those types of things? Because most of our offering is for investors, small mom and pop landlords with 10 or fewer properties for the most part. So that's the abstract opportunity, is to think top down instead of bottoms up. Not how do I get the next user, but how is the whole market operating and how do I access this chunk that I'm not accessing today? Okay. And the practical one is we have these podcasts. We don't sell half of our inventory for the ads on this. We for an hour-long podcast, we'll typically have 4 60-second ads, which is right in line with what the industry standard is for a show of our size. Well, half of those are not being sold, but other shows have the same problem. What if we trade or swap that inventory with, peers, like, a stock investing show, those types of things? That's something that we're actively exploring of of can we for free use this budget that we can swap in order to create impressions and raise awareness, perhaps with some of these audiences that we are not accessing today.
Are there any marketing mediums or new technology that you're thinking of, whether that's like AI invention, AR, VR, getting more into TikTok? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I would say that so our head of marketing, her name is Lindsay Buxton. She's fantastic. She's come in. Really, our marketing function started as a product marketing function, right? Getting people who listen to our shows to our site, and then once they're on our site, to tell them about our products, like our pro membership or our agent finding products, right? And so that's really been the meat of our stuff. And I would say that prior to her coming on, we really lacked a marketing 101. A lot of those pieces, like here's how we onboard the customer. Here's what the email sequence will look like. We're going to split test our pricing page to make sure that we're offering the most enticing value proposition for people who visit that page, and our check, like those types of things. That's really been a big initiative for the last year. We use tools like A/B testing software. VWO is what we use. We used Optimizely before that, for example. We have a robust analytics platform that tells us what our members on our site are doing. Remember, I can't track it across from podcast listener, but I can track what you do once you come to our website and create an account for sure. So we use a tool called Amplitude for that. We have a robust data tracking operation there. We use Google AdWords and Facebook ads and those types of things, but these are probably not very sophisticated technology. I'm not probably giving you any sexy technology.
I love this, because what you're really coming back to is just marketing foundations that need to be set up, and not trying to get too fancy with the next shiny object of whether it's TikTok and AI, VR that's coming about. So I do love that answer.
No, this year, our goal, literally our goal, how we wrote it out was we're going to go from, we did a great job implementing marketing 101 in 2021. In 2022, we're going to implement marketing 202. Nice. And for us, 202 is not like data science, it is data. There's some data science, but it's not like AI or machine learning and those types of things. It's literally, instead of having Bradley as our customer persona, we're going to build Bradley, Sue, rookie Ron, and experienced investor Sue. We're going to go from one persona to three, something very manageable that reflects our early stage investor, our core customer Bradley, and then our more experienced person who's looking for the next steps in their business. And we're going to begin building a marketing funnel that makes sense for those folks and changing our product to more effectively serve, for example, those more experienced folks.
So I just have a few last questions. So this one is, if you were magically given your entire marketing budget from last year, where would you want to deploy this capital in your marketing efforts?
Lindsay would not be happy with my answer. I will say that I think we're good in our marketing division for right now. We've got plenty of budget to swap with other brands for this. We've got plenty of budget to test new acquisition channels. I would take that budget and I'd put it in my product and engineering division and continue building more products like my lender finder aspect, or the contractor finder, or the insurance broker finder, or the CPA or lawyer finder, or building or partnering with new technology products that help you find off-market deals and accounting software. So that's what I think would power our revenue faster. I would then give our marketing team more things to promote, right? And products that the customer wants that they would be willing to buy.
What is a marketing fail that you've experienced? And if you were thinking back in hindsight, why was that not a success for you?
We've had some oopsies. We just sent out an email to our entire list that is completely wrong. Those are oopsies. I wouldn't say that those happen just in a general sense. Um, marketing fail. We've had some book launches that we were like, this is going to be a home run book. Nobody cares. Nobody buys it. Complete flop, right? We've had some ones take us by surprise. We've had some podcast series in the past that didn't get off to the, for whatever reason, great show, customers who listened to it loved it, but never could get the listenership necessary to sustain itself on a cash flow basis. We've had, one big challenge was in about 5 years ago, we raised the price of our subscription product, and we didn't do a good job adding value to the subscription product to come in to tie into the change in price. So we told everyone, hey, you're going to get a lot of you're going to get locked into this old price point if you sign up now. Had a big sale, lots of people signed up. That definitely worked, and then sales went to a new lower level for about 6 months after that. That was quite painful for the business.
Was that because you just rose the price to raise the price? Was it that you didn't add enough value in exchange? What do you think resulted in those sales dipping?
I think it was a combination of us pushing a really heavy marketing campaign, buy now before the price goes up, and then not introducing new features that could. So I think we sucked a lot of sales out of future months into those months, and then didn't, weren't able to, it shows a big pop and then a decline in your business for a little bit after that.
Got it. Got it. So the last question for today, and you are the perfect person to answer this. It is, and I ask this to end all of our shows. It is, what is the best purchase you've made for under $100, either personally or professionally, in the last 6 months, and why?
I would say many of the books that I've read. So all of these were purchased for under $100.
Amazing.
And that is the best investment I make. Is every like these books. Yeah, I'm trying to read 50 books this year, 13 books per quarter, one book a week, and so 50, 52, I guess. And I have a little show actually downstairs where my current reading is. That is the most powerful thing. Investment. You just get you read one relevant book to your goals per week. You don't have to take, some of the books will be duds and you'll get to give up on them. You should, but you do that, I think you'll quickly have a large number of mental models to handle a lot of situations in life.
That's a great transition, because I want to allow you to give a shout out to any links, websites for everyone, and of course your book, Set for Life. Love to give you a chance to give a shout out to that, so anyone who's inspired by this conversation can get connected to the BiggerPockets community.
Awesome. Well, always happy to plug BiggerPockets, BiggerPockets.com. We have a bookstore. You can check it out. We have 30 titles. We think they're all great. Thank you for the plug for Set for Life, which is one of my titles. I've written 2, Set for Life and a book called First Time Home Buyer, but I can't remember exactly what that one's about. On the other, I'll plug one book that I think is like the most influential book I've read that has nothing to do with BiggerPockets world, which is called The Outsiders: 8 unconventional CEOs and their radically rational blueprint for success. That book is awesome. I read it probably every year just to kind of revert back to it, because that's I think that kind of really shows what the goal of business is, and marketing, of course, is a derivative, is one function inside of a healthy business that supports the whole. So that's I would definitely recommend people read that book. I really like it.
Amazing. Scott, it was an honor to speak with you, and thank you for taking time out of your day to speak with me.
Thanks so much for the invite, Andrew. Really enjoyed the conversation.